Welcome back everyone. This video is going to discuss today's entrance ticket questions and answers, so please make sure you pay close attention so you can answer that assignment properly. So your first word for today is emphasis. Your question is, what is emphasis? So the answer is that it's visual weight or importance. It's a nice short definition. It should be easy to remember and write down. So visual weight is basically the artistic way of saying importance. So when something is emphasized as important, typically when someone wants to be heard and no one's listening, they raise their voice to yell so that their voice is more important. So just like raising the volume of something makes it more important, more noticeable to hear, in art you want to make the images more noticeable to the viewer, usually to express a specific meaning or importance of the image to the artwork. So there are certain ways to do that, which we're going to discuss in the next slide. And we're probably going to jump back to this slide as well to discuss how the artist made these images important and what the emphasized images are. So again, emphasis is visual weight or importance. And then your question is, how can an artist make something more important to the viewer? And there are multiple ways to do that. This image shows one specifically, one way of doing that. And I'll give you just a second to look at this image on the right. You can see this line of people. Can you guess which image is more important or is emphasized over everything else? If you guess that the man with the fly head is the most emphasized object, you'd be correct because he is the one thing that's different from everything else. He also serves as a focal point because we look directly at him because he's the main thing that's different. But you can make something more important by making it the one thing different from everything else, just like this man with this fly's face. And jumping back to the previous slide, these also did a good job showing, emphasizing the images and using different techniques to do that. So the second question, even though it's not on the screen right now, is how can an artist emphasize something to make it important? We just discussed the first way is to make it different from everything else. And if you look at the buffalo, if you just look at that and try to take in, what do you think the artist did to make that more important? If you are right now thinking about the color, the placement, or the size, you'd be correct. You can also make the size something more important. The color can draw attention and make an image more powerful or more important. And then also the placement. That buffalo is large, it's in the center, it's got the most amount of colors, so it draws our attention right to it as the most important image in the artwork. And then the fifth way is on, and actually this is the image, sorry guys, I'm losing my train of thought here, but the image on the left, talk about the number 5 being the most important object in that image. And the fifth way of making something important is you can repeat it over and over and over again. So the answer to the second question is making something different than everything else. You can repeat it, you can change the color, the size, and the placement. So all of those things can make something important to the viewer. Those are all ways and techniques to emphasize something. So what you should take away from this video is not just the answers for your entrance ticket, but as you are creating your narrative art projects, how can you use emphasis in your project? Can you draw images bigger? Are you planning on changing certain colors to get the attention of the viewer? Could you repeat something? Could you change the placement of something? So be thinking of that, because as you're telling your story, you want your story to be clear. So you want to make sure you're emphasizing the proper subjects and spaces to make sure your story is as clear as possible. All right, so that's it for today's video. Please make sure that at the conclusion of this video, you complete your entrance ticket for your easy 2 points. And after that, just continue working on your projects. And please message me if you have any questions, but I look forward to seeing your progress that you completed today. Okay, everyone. Have a good class.